Well, hello and welcome back to another Elliott Waves on Cryptos. It's been a while since the last video, but we're back with another analysis. It's been maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We're gonna have a quick look on BTC as always, and then the Supercycle team has voted this week for, well, it's actually been a bit of a tie between XRP and Engine, and the link was just 1 vote behind too. So I've chosen XRP because I think it's just going to be a bit more interesting for more people rather than less. So we're going to have a quick look on those two. Let's not forget, none of this financial advice, educational, and of course, it's there to teach you the ins and outs of the markets and Elliott waves mainly. So without further ado, I will go ahead and start off with BTC and then XRP. I will really try to be quick this time because I always say that and I never do it. So here we go. This has been my main for a while. It's supposed to be a third wave. We are Supercycle wave 4. There is pros and cons about this count. There is definitely a 5-wave move down here, right? We can see 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the 5th one comes in. But it could be like 5, and then we could do B and C. And this is my expectation, by the way. Regardless, though, I do have a 1, 2, 1, 2 in here because I don't think that this wave to the downside and this wave to the downside belong in the same degree. We're going to find out, of course, and this is one of the alternatives. But for now, I am assuming that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. That means, however, that we have a lot more downside to do. If that's 1, 2, then 3, 4, and 5 for 3, then 4 and 5. That's going to be A, and then you're going to get B, and then we're going to get C. It's getting a bit unlikely, guys. Although it is my account, I mean, there's no reason to be bonded with it or anything. I'm getting a bit more, uncertain about this count. Unless if it turns out being 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's a different case. Probably the A, and then the B, and then the C. What is becoming more interesting is that if we do go all the way down here now and we extend from here, instead of an A wave, probably down here, maybe we're even going to have an ABC, like a C wave from the top. As you remember, that was a very old count I had as an A, B, C flat. Okay. But there is a limit there to around 14K because that's the beginning of wave 1 or something. If we're still in the 4th wave, that's why I never had it as, I even took it off the alternatives. But anyway, then what we are looking here is for a variation in the 5th, the one I just told you. Just because the wave 1 looks quite big versus the 3rd, they don't look like they belong to the same structure, but that's why it's the variation. It's the first variation though I'm supporting. Okay, and that means of course we're going to get a 4th wave without interacting with the first up at 1847 or so, and from there we're going to go lower. That is very likely to be a running sort of triangle here as well, right guys? As you can see, we have another case of a triangle here and, well, an ending diagonal together in the same sort of thing here. That would be the 1, 2, oops, excuse me. That would be the 1, 2, 3, and you remember this triangle we talked about? That's the only actually triangle that works as a triangle, otherwise nothing else works, which means that has to be a wave 1. If this is a wave 1, we either have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is the main scenario, by the way, or equally, because triangles and ending diagonals sometimes they do tend to come together, you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. That's going to be just an ending diagonal. There is an alternative variation here where wave A has already ended with a shorter wave 3 and 5. This is an A, B, and a C, supposedly for something like a flat, and from then we're going to do another 5-wave move to the upside. Now in this particular case, let's not forget guys that if wave B is done, we only need to do the 61.8% as a truncation in wave C to assume that you know, a running flat is in. So 21k in that case, that would be the likelihood of this potential move. Since this is also a 5-wave move to the upside, it could just correct and continue higher, and from there go. This is something that might come a bit more handy in the next few weeks, I would say, maybe even days. If we see this 5-wave leg to the upside continuing higher, then you also have the ending diagonal that is as an ABC, right? Which is of course a little bit more of a different case here. There is some bending, I wouldn't say bending and forcing of some sort of counts as well here internally, but either way, that's the one, you know, if we get an ABC. So the upside move is going to give us two scenarios that are going to be more probably. One is the ending diagonal, and this is the alternative variation if we continue higher, I mean, right? The W, X, and Y always has been the case, and the wave X can either be, well, a triangle, maybe finished here, and we'll go for an ABC down in Y, or we're going to get a flat, as we said before in the ABC case. You've got also the double zigzag, WX, and then the ABC down here, which means we only need one more wave to the downside to get this done. We were looking at a different scenario here as well in the fourth wave for a potential, if you remember last time we talked about 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5, but it's just, you know, these two corrections don't really match with one another. So this is for the short-term stuff, guys. Now the long-term stuff, sorry. Now the short-term, I don't know why will this appear. I thought hold on, let me just quickly show you what I'm expecting here and what is my main and why. This is my main scenario here at 1, 2, and 1, 2. As I said before, for me, although if you were in my group as well, you would probably know how much I've been talking about this. We have 2 waves down, we have 5 waves up here. It kind of looks like it wants to continue higher, and I'm with you. But technically speaking, we have a running flat that is completed, okay, because we did the truncation necessary for a running flat, and we've had 5 waves up over here as well with no overlap, a triangle in the 4th and the 5th. The only thing that we don't really look like it's kind of something that we want to support is that this is an ABC and this is a 5. It's like we are now looking at a contrarian sort of view, but this can be a W, X, and Y, guys. Okay, let's not forget that, because otherwise you only can have this wave to the upside only with a flat pattern over here. Okay, so this is one of the, this is my main kinda, but it's very closely we're gonna know whether this can actually remain the case or not. We have broken outside the base channel, and this kind of turns a little bit more bearish as we speak as well. But because technically we have completed a running flat, I personally have a process where I'm going for the one that is the most likely case. And the most likely case, because we have a completed structure here as the 5-wave move, is that now this is a done scenario. The other thing I was looking though, let me just bring you to this now, is potentially wave 1 having finished here, and this is going to be like some sort of correction done in wave 2. Okay, in this case we have to assume well, actually we don't really need to assume that, but yeah, ABC, and then whatever the case is going to be, just you're going to get a correction down here, and then from there continue higher. Another one is for wave 4, you know, this as 1, 2, 3, and then you have A, B, C, D, E, or something like this, and then all the way up to the for the 5th wave, like we are still doing the wave 4 and we expect a triangle. Obviously this is ridiculous because it looks like an ABC kinda, but you never know what happens with BTC, because you got a multi-structural move to the upside here, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 waves kinda. So That is there though. And then another one I wanted to show you guys, potentially, if this is 1 and 2, you could have like 3, and there could be an ABC here for a running flat in W. Then you have another ABC for another expanded flat here in wave X, which explains the 5-wave move to the upside. And then you would have something like of an ABC here, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for A, then B and C for Y. And then you continue higher. This is a valid case because we have a running flat irregular wave B popping above the previous high and then ending here as a running flat, but it's a very unlikely case, guys. I'm just telling you that in case we continue higher, lower and then higher, that might be one of the cases that we can look at. Now there is overlap here, and I wanted to also bring you this thing over here in mind, just for you to consider, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and A, B, and potentially that is like a wave C for open-ending diagonal for W. Then you got the X, and then W, X, and Y in wave Y for wave 2. So even for those who wanted to look at this as 1 and 2 and like 3 and 4, they can still be a 5. That is the idea here, and this is why I'm showing you this. It's a bit enforced though. That's why I don't use that for my main. Okay, my main is, hold on, what have I done? Yeah, that is the main, right? That wave 1 is up here for me. Obviously, as we return to this, this is looked upon as a leading diagonal. That's the first wave, supposedly the second, then you will get the third, and then the fourth and the fifth. I'm not too keen on this though, guys, but we have to weigh things and go along with a set of procedure, right? It's not about if in the end we have the right count. It's about whether we are actually following the markets as we should using Elliott waves. Now on XRP, this is my main count, guys. I'm looking at this as a move to the upside for cycle wave 1 being done. WX, Y, X, and Z. I'm expecting a triple zigzag, yes. So you got the A, the B, and the C. And this is W. And then you got an A, B, and a C, which is a flat. And then you got the X, which is an ABC, and you got A, B, C, D, E for wave Y. And then you go down for an ABC for another, then you got another WX and Y, and then you got another WX and Y. This is my main. Now, this main we don't need to. We can go all the way down here because it's the fifth. But, 2375 is going to be an important level, okay? On a different note, of course, as always, don't forget that we can always use the base channels, okay? We have already done a weak attempt to go down here, so the second time probably is going to be a bit more weak, so we might just end around the 20 cents or so, who knows. This is of course irrelevant to what we're looking at now. You can always use the WX as well. If I did grab it though, that would be a better case, no? Oh, hello? Well, it looks like I did. Well, you're looking around 2170, 2270, or whatever that level is. Either way, ABC for zigzag, W for a flat, X for zigzag, Y for a triangle. So a wave X is a double 3. Then you got ABC for Y, then you got WX for X, which is a double zigzag, and then you got probably another double zigzag for wave Y. An alternative, what did I do here? Let's put this in here, is of course just a double zigzag, okay? And you got the W and the X, and you got the Y. That means that this is 1 or A, B, and C probably. And then again, it doesn't make much sense. Actually, I will tell you what. It would probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would be wave A for our open leading diagonal. then you have this correction, and then that is going to end up being some sort of move to the upside, which means our correction is done. We finished wave 2 and we're going to start moving higher. Now, I haven't really looked at this, to be honest, to see if it's a valid case. Let me check. Hold on. That should be there. That should be there. So, okay, 3 is bigger than 1. The question is 4 bigger than 2? It looks like it is. Yes, it is. So this is the alternative idea, guys, of that being some sort of an open diagonal, leading diagonal with a quite of an extended leg here, right? So that's why it's an alternative. So just keep that in mind. And then in the shorter term, just so that we know where we're heading and all that stuff, what I'm waiting for, what I'm expecting. We're in the final wave, and I'm suspecting it's an ABC, it's a WX and Y in wave Z, right? Now, why, you might ask? Well, because you got this, and then you got this, and then you got this, and then you got this, and it kind of is, you know, corrective all over the way. There is a tiny overlap here, and for that reason, I'm also between 2 counts here. The other one being, you know, something like of 1 or A, and then 2 or B, and then you'll have a 3 and a 4, and then a 5 for wave A. Because don't forget, we're in wave Z, we can literally get anything in wave Z. Okay. Now we're just gonna have to just probably go a little bit here and enforce a few things. And that is the reason I actually have a W, X, and Y instead of wave A, B, and C here or something else. The reason I'm actually giving you the other variation is because there is no evident overlap here between the 2 waves here. And that suggests perhaps, you know, it's like an A, you know, B, C, D, E or something, and then we'll continue lower down. But I'm not really sure. It's going to be something like I'm supporting too much. Now, wave X, though, you might ask, what about wave X? Well, this is probably a wave W here, okay, for a running flat. And then you go, or for a regular flat, actually. You got an ABC over here, and then you go back up again, right? You do that. And then we start falling. So there is 2 ideas. One is that we have W or A, you know, X and Y, and we end it here. And this is A, 1 and 2, sorry. This is like 3 and 4, and then we're going to get 5 for an ending diagonal, which looks a bit, leading diagonal, sorry, which looks very, very, very unlikely. Or the other case is that we're still in wave X, which is what I'm thinking actually it's happening here. Now that looks like a regular flat. Okay, that looks like indeed like even another flat with an extended wave C. So you got a W. You got okay, an X, and you got a Y. And this is minor. Maybe I deleted it earlier accidentally. So if this is the case indeed, we can have something like an A, B, and a C, right? But also, because this is W and the X is all of that, maybe this is A, B, C, D, and E. Then we're going to get Y, and then we're going to go lower down. So this is something that, of course, is impossible to say, but we have to support an idea of we're still correcting just because that leg to the downside, all of it looks corrective, whereas this one can indeed be impulsive. Okay, so you might ask what levels I'll be watching. Well, I don't want to talk about levels, to be fair. It's a W, X, and Y. Usually, you know, if we're lucky, we might get a move up to 79, but I don't think we're getting any closer to like 42 anytime soon, to be fair. I think that might, you know, give us a bit more of sort of clarity in case we fall towards the 79 because we're at 61.8 now. So 36 is going to give us a bit more clarity, because if we come to 36, we start moving up. So yeah, then most probably we, you know, when I get this wave triangle with X wave triangle here, as I was saying before. Okay, but generally speaking, you know, the whole structure of XRP is very, very, very corrective, and that's why there's a lot of like diagonals and triangles and WX and Ys. So it's definitely not one that you can easily identify the impulses in the longer term, and that makes it also harder to know where the corrections might end. So that's going to be all. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.